Hello and welcome to the first episode of Zenny Sign Up, Talking Points. This isn't a podcast set to avoid excessive costs. In this series, I will discuss all matters of topics, whether they be obscure or even controversial. Ultimately, find the truth, or at the very least a silver lining. We all love to talk more than we like to listen, but it mostly comes down to what one finds interesting. There is no need for my bad public relations to try and convince. As a firm believer in being yourself, I will not sugarcoat nor beat around the bush. Sugar is as addictive as cocaine, and I'm not a fan of bush, neither political nor follicle. Into this short first episode. Nothing said but already has been. Now, I feel, and you might agree, through most of the discourse which takes place on a daily basis, it is nothing other than useless. Not talking about instructions or directions, but conversation, which is predominantly for our own amusement. I am not saying whether it is right or wrong, as that is a case-by-case basis, and although I too am involved in such speech which brings no benefit, especially as an entertainer, it is paramount to highlight that most of the important talking points have already been covered in the past, and we are simply regurgitating the same nonsense over and over. Of course, this doesn't apply to objectified speech, where a movement can be obtained with what is said. Often than not, repetition is a big factor. First, you need a key factor, a staple statement to sell your thought, plan, idea, or whatever. The word, religion, often weaponized to achieve a desired result, used by the masses, mostly the poor, in order to cope. Unless it truly be something that is clear, which is to be followed for the betterment of society. The word definition translates to a way of life. Everybody follows religion. These are some of the topics which I will go into more depth to explain, including how fundamentals of living life with purpose and good understanding of rationality can assist, whether you follow a set of instructions labeled or not, with a name or not. Doing what others do is also classed as religion. I'm unsure whether people are aware of that. So they take words, load them with all sorts of meanings. However, it does come down to the intention. Now, moving on with the times, people are more sensitive because of the overexposure and the indulgence to a wide array of things available through the internet. Aside from information, influence can be good, mostly bad, but sticking to the basics is best. While I'm trying to stay as general and disconnected from current affairs, it is important to approach innovation in the light that it was revealed in. Better for mankind. My stance is to disagree. Ironic given the medium. Does the end justify the mean when the harm is significantly greater? And majority of inventions were intended not to help, but to make them money. Truth is not to be required on statistics when it is abundant and apparent. My takes are often idealistic, whether possible through means or not. I don't consider people to be robots. With a mind and a connected heart, it should at the very least be demonstrating a form of intelligence. So in future, I will try my best to keep things in standard terms so most people understand. And there's any side of it, I don't care. Everybody is on a journey, and everybody's personality is somewhere on the spectrum. In other words, indifferent. So we each have something different about us. Then again, I'm just different. I am not here as a leader to be one, only to speak, because I love to talk clearly and concisely, whether you choose to listen or not. Who do you think I am? Not a Turkish-American commentator. I have no position to order or command direction. Too much to ask unless it be foolish. Wouldn't know where to begin. Do not understand the terms of phrases used. And policies, on the other hand, are confusing by nature in order to deprive people of understanding their rights. Clever, right? Just to get a taste, what I would say regarding this matter. I say to open all borders. Some people like to hate where they sleep, but majority of the public would like good for themselves first, then good for others. You have to be a special sort of sadistic case to desire bad for others, and that is sad all on its own. This is just an introduction, so power corrupts, absolutely. Rules weren't meant to be broken but followed. Society is always the norm. What is normal is the inherent consciousness. The heart will either lead a person to good or destruction, but it always starts with a clean slate. With that said, choices in action, thought, reaction, or response, environmental factors, or one's own knowledge and execution of tasks contribute towards their internal system. What makes me qualified to make these proposed statements? Once again, I'm just different. Could be my willingness to learn to share, not from being fed, but through actively seeking out for clarification and insight. Unsolicited or suggestive is usually not appreciated. Not selling anything here, not yet, nor is it any good, because the ultimate truth in sales is if the product is that good, it sells itself. Otherwise, it is on a false pretense. It is in English how I effectively communicate and convey my dialogue. Maybe people will come to agree, or not. Cannot change fate. I can only inform. A lot are hellbent, so what can I do? Indoctrined minds have made the harmful things fair seeming. What happens when someone who has sat on the fence for long enough to understand comes to oppose their held points of view? I'll tell you, looks exchange for character. They play a huge role, one being short-term and short-lived, and the other, consequently, life-changing when implemented. A test, it looks as though. Science fiction, I am not. A moral compass determines the path. People get lost. Majority of them get fixated on seeing, when it is evidently not the same as believing. Then again, they forget. we also have ears, to think differently to what is exposed to them constantly. Well, that was a brief overview of what you can expect from someone unlike me. Topics will be one at a time with an adequate insight, but landing on a general approach. So, it really does go without saying, so I won't say it. Thank you for listening, and be sure to tune back in for another episode of Zenny Sign Up.